I'm sitting down again because it's just an easier setup, and that's how important decisions get made. Good morning and welcome to Whenever You Are. I am Bandit Haze, and today I want to talk about a few things that I've seen in the news lately that I think are slightly related. One of them is Digital Homicide's latest antics, and the other is an opinion piece I saw on Vice.com which is written in defense of playing rubbish video games. So Digital Homicide have been in the news again for doing what Digital Homicide do best, which is making questionable business decisions, which is a politer way of saying acting like complete and utter arseholes. But, you know, I'm trying to be advertiser friendly, so, you know. Now, let me catch everybody up. Earlier in the year, Digital Homicide were in the news for filing a lawsuit against Jim Sterling for $10 million after a few years of back and forth between the two, from what ultimately started from the fact that Jim Sterling didn't like their game. Now that lawsuit is still ongoing because nothing has actually happened with it, because they haven't been able to raise the money that they needed for a lawyer, because nobody wanted to donate to their cause. The last I heard is that one of the brothers that makes up Digital Homicide decided to defend themselves in court, and you know what they say, a man who defends himself has a fool for a client. Now, while all that was going on, what some other Steam users noticed about Digital Homicide is that they tend to release a lot of games in a short period of time, often multiple games on the same day. Now, you might be thinking, wow, they must be putting in a lot of work. Not quite, because a lot of these games supposedly, and I have to say supposedly because I haven't actually played it myself, but a lot of these games supposedly were just the same game but reskinned. Nothing more than minor surface level differences here and there, then pushed out as a whole new game, sold really cheap in the hopes that some guy with spare change and curiosity decides to download it just for the trading cards. Because when those trading cards are sold, Digital Homicide get a little kickback from it. So anyway, when these Steam users noticed that, they of course called them out on their BS, and how did Digital Homicide respond? They filed a lawsuit against the Steam users. I mean, you'd think they would have learnt their lesson by now. Nope. Or at least be thinking, you know, maybe this isn't such a good idea. Nope. Or even, how about we don't do something that makes us look like morons? Enter the nod to the no. But perhaps the dumbest thing about this is the fact that there were 100 Steam users that they wanted to sue for $18 million, by the way. They of course didn't know the name of those Steam users, so they filed the lawsuit with the Steam users' usernames. Legal documents filed with somebody's gamer handle on it. That's actually happened. So Digital Homicide then issued a subpoena to Valve demanding that Valve release the names and personal details of the 100 Steam users so that they can pursue with legal proceedings. Valve then responded with the best thing Valve have done since the refund program, and that is they removed every single Digital Homicide game from Steam. They said, you will not bully our customers. We will not do business with you. Good day, sir. You get nothing. So this is another Digital Homicide lawsuit I'm pretty sure isn't going anywhere as well. I mean, $18 million. The way I'm reading it, it seems like people should be suing them for $18 million. Now, as for the future of Digital Homicide, I hope one of two things happens. Either A, they find something they're good at and they do that, or B, they learn to make games that people actually want to play and then do that. So let me talk about this Vice article now in defense of playing bad video games. Now what they're saying in this article is that you should play bad video games because of the things that you can learn from it about what makes it bad, and in turn you could appreciate better video games even more. But here's the thing. You don't need to stick your dick in a beehive to know that it is a bad idea. Let me back up a little bit. What I'm saying is that with the possible exception of games reviewers, I don't believe there is any real good reason for anybody else to be playing bad video games. Now, I'm not saying you should never play bad video games. If you play enough games, it's going to happen from time to time. It just can't be helped. But certainly we shouldn't be seeking them out, because in the end, all that translates to is more sales of crappy games, and more sales of crappy games means that more crappy games are likely to be made. and the more crappy games that are being made, the more likely it is that we'll see companies like Digital Homicide who just aren't even trying. I mean, some developers, they're trying to make a good game, but it just doesn't work out that way, but they're trying. Other developers, they're not even trying. But we'll just keep getting more of that if we have this idea of, I gotta play this crappy game because I gotta know why it's a crappy game. But here's the thing, you don't need to know why a game sucks, you just need to know that it sucks, and if you got it from Steam and had it less than 2 hours, then you need to be returning it. Even games developers don't need to be playing crappy games. The more crappy games a games developer is playing, the more chances they'll be influenced by that crap, and they end up making crappy games in return, and that's the kind of crap we don't need. And if we're talking about crappy games as in a technical buggy mess, then they definitely don't need to be playing crappy games, because you don't need to play a game full of bugs to know that your game should not be full of bugs. Granted, I know a lot of developers have missed that memo the way games are being released these days. Games are so damn buggy, every time you play you have to call the exterminators round. Games are so buggy, you can use it to push a baby in. Games so full of bugs, schools use them to teach entomology. Smart people's jokes. But anyway, to be fair, this article isn't the first time I've seen comments like this. I've seen similar comments in the past from industry professionals who have come to the defense of lazy developers. And I'm sure from time to time we've all seen comments from die-hard fans who defend the deplorable actions of gaming companies. And I wonder why that is, you know, why do people support these actions that are so non-consumer friendly? Because it seems like gamers are the only group of people who would defend something that isn't as good as it should be. Actually, to be fair, Man United fans do the same thing. And for my American friends, that would be Miami Dolphins fans. I do my research. Anyway, all I'm saying is that if you come across a crappy game, if you can return it, in my opinion, you should be returning it. If you cannot return it, then at the very least you shouldn't be defending it. And yes, we have different tastes, we like different things. One man's trash is another man's treasure, and that's fine, because developers should be trying to make different games. They should be trying. When I play a game, when I watch a movie, read a book, listen to music, or experience any form of art, I want to feel the passion of the artist and not just feel like it's just another crappy game that nobody's going to care about in a week, but I'm going to grind through it because I gotta know why it's crap. No, your ass is getting returned. Let me conclude on this, because perhaps my opinion is a product of me being an older gentleman. I mean, one of the things that happens as you get older is that you start to narrow down the things that you truly care about. And I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I really don't want to be spending time on things that aren't serving me in any kind of positive way. And I just don't see why anybody should be doing that, because the more time you spend on something, the more of that thing you end up getting. And then you get people like Digital Homicide trying to take advantage of that. And that is what I think of Digital Homicide and crappy games villagers. What do you think? Do you think Digital Homicide are doing the right thing? Or do you think they have about as much chance of winning as there is of there ever being a Half-Life 3? Let me know down below, and if you liked this video, give it a like and share it amongst your friends. If you did not like it, then give it a dislike and share it amongst your enemies. Either way, let me know your reasons in the comments. Subscribe if you have not already. Thank you for watching, and until whenever, if ever, if at first you don't succeed, go home and rethink your life. Beginning of the film, we see him dragging an unconscious body out in broad daylight, so we know he ain't no good guy. And out of all the things that